Today, gentlemen, I've been honored to coach you. More honored to take you into the field of battle. But there's another honor that's been bestowed upon you. And that is the mantle that comes with that question. Who am I? I am a champion! That's right.
Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Definitely appreciate the support. Let's just get right into it. I believe I have a video on pre-snap reading in Madden 22 and Madden 21. But of course, with the coding of the game, may be different in certain Maddens. I think it's just better just to have one, every cycle of Madden. So pre-snap reading, guys, I'm telling you, this stuff, once you learn this stuff, it will make your game so much better. You'll be far more efficient. And you'll be far more optimal in your approach in attacking a defense. A lot of the reasons and why a lot of passing concepts and football stuff isn't used, at least in my opinion, is largely in part to, I believe, people just don't know what the opponent is doing pre-snap. So first and foremost, the pillar of everything when it comes to my channel is this sequential pattern. For those of you who are subscribed and have seen my videos, you know what this is. For newcomers, I'm going to explain it right now. Okay, 422031. If you ingrain this sequence in your head, this is a formula I put together maybe a couple of years ago. And it just condenses everything down. So what is this? How many defenses are in the game? I'm talking like defensive play calls. Cover one robber, blitz, weak side blitz, strong three, whatever it's called. There's probably around, who knows, 400 different defensive play calls in the game. If I were to tell you to give me the weaknesses of every single coverage, it would seem like a daunting task. Or trying to pre-snap read what specific coverage out of that 400 your opponent is running, that's just a daunting task. That's impossible, right? Well, what if I were to tell you that every single defense in the game, I don't care which one it is, it falls under one of these 6 different shell coverages right here. So there isn't 400 different defenses in the game, there's only 6. So if you learn the strengths and weaknesses of these 6, it makes it so much easier for you to attack whatever your opponent is doing, right? So what are these? This is the double high, that's what DH is for, and this is the single high side. Okay, and I will show you in this video how every single defense falls under one of these 6. Okay, so and I'll show you cover 0 really is under a no high safety family, but I group it this way on purpose to make it easier for you when you try to attack defenses, because this is the way I do it. Okay, so this is cover 4, this is cover 2 zone, this is cover 2 man, this is cover 0, this is cover 3, and this is cover 1. So let's get right into the pre-snap read, and we'll go from there. So cover 4. Okay, so first and foremost, when you break the huddle, you're walking into the line of scrimmage, I always look at the whole field, with the coach cam or whatever. As soon as I break huddle, first thing you look for is the safety formation. So how many deep safeties do we have? 2. So this falls under double high. What was under double high? 4, 2 zone, 2 man, and 0. So keep this verbiage in mind. If my opponent is telling the truth, that's very important, then we know it's not cover 3 or cover 1. Okay, we know it's cover 4, cover 2 zone, cover 2 man, or cover 0. Now let's break it down even further. Okay, look at the corners. When they're aligned off like this, it's not cover 2 zone, it's not cover 2 man, right? And cover 0, they are aligned off, but safety alignment will showcase when it's cover 0. So a lot of times you can get mixed up between cover 4 and cover 0, but there's subtle nuances to alignment that I'll show you in this video to where it's cover 4 or cover 0. So this is cover 4. This is the pre-snap read of cover 4. And then I'll show you what it looks like when they decide to press the defense, just like that. Let's go to replay. So obviously, I keep writing this up here. Maybe I should have put a template, right? This is getting kind of ridiculous here. Obviously, there are variants. So this is why it's important to understand the core, right? This is the core, double high, single high, right? And then how we break off into the 600 different specific defenses in the game, if you shuttle back through the branches of those to get to the roots, that's where we get these 6 different shells, right? So if we work from the core up, obviously you can get match, you can get palms, you can get drop zone, right? You can get Tampa 2, you can get, some trap, soft squat, blitz, etc., right? You can get buzz seam, you can get a 3-3 blitz with a cover 3 shell, etc. But right now I'm showing you what this looks like in press, right? So in cover 4 press, you see the corners, they're aligned directly eye to eye with their opponent, okay? So now let's take a look at cover 2 zone. So again, break huddle, first things first, you look at the safeties, okay? It's double high, right? So if he's telling the truth, it's not cover 3 or cover 1, okay? Then we look at the corners. Well, the corners are off in cover 4, so it's not cover 4. Cover 0, they're off as well, and I'll show you the alignment of cover 2 man. That's how you can know right away that this is cover 2 zone. In cover 2 zone, they're aligned about 5 yards off, and they're aligned outside leverage. So let's go ahead and play it real quick, and then I'll show you the replay. And there's a reason why players align a certain way. It's because you want to be able to play whatever assignment that you have post-snap in the most efficient way possible, right? So that's what alignment is all about. There's a reason why this corner is aligned outside like this at this depth, as opposed to being aligned over here or up here when playing cover 2 zone. And that, think about his fundamental responsibilities post-snap. He's supposed to reroute this receiver to the inside. It is criminal for this corner right here to allow an outside release. Now, why is that? Again, the defense, everything about a defense is like an organism. Everything complements and plays off of one another. Everything is anchored to something else, right? Your run fits, your second level defenders are anchored off of the run fits, and your third level defenders are anchored off of the second level defenders. Everything is, so that's why when I see an opponent do something wrong that fundamentally messes with the structure of the defense, it's like they're creating far more weaknesses that we can exploit. But that's why it's important to know the core stuff first, right? So I'm already going off of the rails. So he wants to reroute him inside as opposed to allowing him to go outside, because it helps out this deep half safety, right? If this wide receiver is traveling up the hole on the sideline over here, there's just far more ground that he has to cover to defend a ball thrown to that receiver, right? As opposed to the same route being more inside, it's less ground for him to cover, and you're helping out your safety. I've seen videos of in the NFL where Marvin Harrison gets a free release against cover 2, and he just destroys the safety deep. And it's like, the average casual fan will blame the safety because he's the one that looks horrible on the play, but they don't know that, hey, their cover 2 corner, just let him blow right by him. He just gives him a free release. You're not helping out your safety. So point of all that is to showcase there's a reason why these players are aligned the way that they are in certain defenses, right? So this is an example. I think I moved this guy off on purpose to show you, a free release. Now this guy is he can do anything, right? Full head of steam, nothing, impeding his release off the line of scrimmage, and, your safety can just get cooked, right? So here we show cover 2 zone when we press, and as you can see, they're still slightly aligned outside because, again, they want to reroute to the inside, right? As you see. So you know what cover 4 looks like pre-snap. You know what cover 4 looks like when we press. You know what 2 zone looks like. And you know what 2 zone looks like when we're pressed as well, right? I shouldn't have put zone. I just went 4, 2 zone, 2 man, 0, 3, 1. So again, we break huddle. We ID the safeties first. Double high or single high. Okay, it's double high. So if my opponent is telling the truth, it's not cover 3 or cover 1, right? What's the pre-snap read of cover 4? Well, then you go to the second level, obviously, or the corners, and they're in off coverage, but we see that they're not. So it's not cover 4. The alignment here is not 2 zone. This would never be 2 zone. Why is that? Because they're inside leverage. Why would they align inside leverage if they want to reroute this player to the inside? You're giving away the outside, right? So, the alignment of these corners here dictate that it just cannot be cover 2 zone, right? But anyways, to cut it right to the point, this is 2-man, right? This is cover 2-man, and I'll show you cover 0 right after this. In 2-man, the corners align on the line of scrimmage inside leverage, right? There's a reason for that, again, because of their assignments post snap. Now, even when you press, when you as a user on defense, if you triangle and press down, in 2-man, nothing changes because they're already in the press animation anyways. Okay, so the reason why in 2-man they're aligned inside is because of their technique post snap. They're supposed to play inside underneath trail technique on their particular opponent. And the reason for that is, again, it's just the design of the defense. You're in 2-man. You're playing to your help, right? Our help is the deep half safety here and the sideline as well. Okay? This deep half safety is going to widen and get depth and get to his landmark. You would rather this player to run a route in which it just goes to your help as opposed to making a move, getting inside, and then you just have all of this space of this wide receiver going inside and you as a defender trailing on the outside, right? You have no help to the inside. The safety's playing deep half, right? It's criminal in 2-man to allow a receiver to get an inside release. I wish I was looking for a video of Rex Ryan on Hard Knocks in like 2009 where he was talking to one of his coaches and he was pissed. They were laughing about something. They were like, man, yeah, we're playing 2-man and getting beaten inside. That's just why, So, yeah, inside leverage. So here, you can see something you can exploit in 2-man right away, right? Your inside receivers, right? If you're playing inside leverage, right? Well, how much space does this receiver have to work on the outside? Not much, right? Okay. So X out theory because he's involved with him. How much space does this receiver have? Well, he has a lot of space over here, right? Now you have deep half help, but if you can run something, that's not, maybe not like a deep go and you're running right into the guy, but there's different routes you can run from the slot position against 2-man that should just easily get open, right? Because this guy naturally gives away the outside because he doesn't want to get beat inside, right? If you cut it down the middle here, there's far more space inside for this receiver to attack as opposed to out here, right? So if you have to give away something in 2-man, you rather give it away in a way, you rather give it away to your help if your help is going deep into the outside, but still it's just a lot of space here. So that's what I do. What you can do against 2-man, you can exploit with your inside receivers. Maybe you're back out of the backfield, tight end on linebacker, etc. So yeah, this video is already a little too long. Let's watch the technique here. Pretty good. He just gets kind of blown by on that curl, but it is what it is. So again, 4, 2 zone, 2-man. Now this is cover 0. So cover 0, you come out, you notice it's double high, so it's not 3 or 1, right? If they're telling the truth. Okay, it's not 2 zone, right? It's not 2-man, right? How is it different from cover 4? Well, the difference is, in cover 4, you got 2 deep safeties and the corners are off as well. But the safety here in cover 0 is aligned further outside than he traditionally would be because he's in man-to-man coverage on this receiver here. And I believe also that they come down a little bit more as opposed in cover 4 because again they're in man-to-man coverage, and that's the read for cover 0. All right, a lot of these things are dictated on your formations, which is something I'll get into later. But cover 0 is fairly easy to differentiate between. Now you see here he's in man-to-man with him, but it's still the same, right? He's still aligned further outside, and he has man-to-man on this guy, right? Same thing with this guy. He's man-to-man with the tight end as opposed to being a deep quarter, right? So that's the read for the double high safety side if they're telling the truth. Hopefully I move on here. Okay, yeah, we gotta see what happens when we press, right? When we press, they play inside leverage. Again, because you rather give away the outside than the inside. Now, you don't want to give away anything, but, you know, again, slice down the middle here through these two guys. Where is there more space, right? Way more over here, right? So you definitely don't want to give that away, which makes sense why you want to play inside leverage and cover zero. The biggest weakness of cover zero, or I should say the biggest plays to be made to exploit cover zero, is the deep middle of the field. Okay, so I know you guys probably been struggling with cover zero. There's just so many weaknesses to cover zero that you can exploit, and one of them is the deep middle of the field. All right, so here I go to the replay for whatever reason. Okay, this is criminal. So again, just because a guy is supposed to play inside leverage, as we can see due to pre-snap alignment, that doesn't mean that he doesn't give away the inside. Well, not give away, it gets taken away by the receiver. The receivers have jobs too, right? If I'm supposed to run a slant and this guy's aligned in a way to where he's trying to take that away, the savviest receivers will put on, you know, a really good move and take that leverage away, right? Because he doesn't know you're running the slant, right? You just put on a nice move at the line of scrimmage and get him to where he's outside leverage of you, and you just it's free pickings, right? So, you know, I'm glad. You know, obviously, it depends on the ratings of the receiver and the corner. So now we're looking at cover three, and there's a reason why I'm doing this. This is the run fits. Okay, keep this in mind. This is cover three. So again, we come out and we look at the safeties, right? Double high or single high? Well, this is single high. So if my opponent is telling the truth, it's not cover four, two zone, two man, or zero, right? It's cover three or cover one. That's one of the weaknesses of single high defenses. If it's double high, it could be a number of different coverages, right? But if it's single high, it's really fairly one or two different types, right? Okay. Now, obviously, you can disguise coverage and rotate into a double high, right? But there's far more weaknesses to disguising coverage from a single high coverage pre-snap alignment as opposed to a double high alignment, right? Because if you're in cover two and this guy's got to get deep half, there's just far more ground for him to cover post-snap. And if this guy, I mean, it's just, you know, it's easy to exploit something like that. But anyway, this is cover three sky. Remember this. And I'll leave this down here for later. And I want you to notice who's the force defender here. The safety. Okay. So let me put this back down here for sky. And let's see how it looks when they press in cover three. And they align directly eye to eye with your opponent, right? With their opponent. So obviously they bail there. I think there used to be plays where it was like cover three press. I wouldn't be a big fan of that, but so this is cover one man. Now it's harder to tell the difference between cover three and cover one because again it's single high, right? And they're under the same coverage family of single high, right? But word to the wise, guys, if I've noticed that in cover three zones, the second level defenders are more evenly spaced apart as opposed to cover one man. The second level defenders are not evenly spaced apart. And there's a reason for that because they have to play their man, right? So if this guy is man to man with this back, you know, he'd be further out leveraged if he was way over here, right? Now he's out leveraged if he wasn't man to man, but at least it isn't as bad as being over here, right? So in cover one man, these guys are shifted a lot more sporadically and not evenly because they have to play their man post snap, right? And you want to be in position so you're not out leveraged, right? So this guy's man to man's obviously he's further over, etc. This is cover one press, and they're eye to eye. And that's it. We just went over every single defense in the game. You don't believe me? I'll show you right here. This is the double high side. And this is a single high side. All right. So, what defense is this? Cover one. What defense is this? Cover zero. What defense is this? Cover three. Let's keep going. What is this? Two zone. What is this? This is 3. You may say, well, that's not cover 3 sky or nothing like that. Yeah, we know that, but what goes on the inner workings of a defense doesn't matter when we're talking about this. We're talking about the core, the outer shell. The outer shell of a coverage is, well, just that. I mean, for lack of better words, it's the shell. In other words, if anything gets behind this player here, this safety or this corner, it's a touchdown because there's no other line of resistance behind them. They are the outer shell, right? So, the strengths and weaknesses of cover 3 sky are eerily similar to the weaknesses and strengths of overload 3 seam. It's just that, now we've added a blitz and we got seam flat players, so it plays a little bit differently. But because the core weaknesses of, the stock cover 3, then it's easier to understand where he has amplified the strength of cover 3 and where he has created more of a weakness, right? So what would be more of a weakness with this coverage? Well, obviously there's more vacated areas because of the blitz, right? Now the strength of this would be, well, now we can get more pressure, confuse the offensive line. Hopefully they're sliding right, and now we're bringing the overload weak side, etc., or strong side or whatever, right? But this is how you learn better, I think, where you can exploit a defense. I think it's harder to work from the roof down to the foundation as opposed to working from the foundation down up to the roof, right? So I think I did this one right. So next one. What is this? This is cover 2 zone, right? Same thing. What is this? Cover 3. What is this? Why does this say nickel over cover 3 seam? Oh, okay. Cover 3. What is this? Cover 1. Cover 2 zone. I think we did that one. Yeah, I'm flying through these things. I should have went a little slower. What is this? This is 2 zone. 3. Cover 1. Cover 4. 0. 2 man. So here's another thing. You notice the first couple of weeks, the meta has been, loop blitz this blitz that, this blitz that. Guarantee you, go on YouTube, go search, and run across some videos where someone posts insane new nano pressure or whatever that they put down, and then you go and check the video, and it's just cover 0. That's all that they're doing, right? It's like, dude, there's nothing, profound about it. It's just cover 0. That's what cover 0 is. It brings a free rusher at the quarterback, right? You're bringing 6, we're blocking 5, so someone comes scot-free at the quarterback. That's what cover 0 is, right? So once you learn the strengths and weaknesses of cover 0, it doesn't matter what type of cover 0 blitz that they bring, you know where you should attack, right? So what is this? Cover 3, cover 1, cover 2. What is this? Cover 3 cloud, right? It's cover 3. 2 zone. Now, this is the aha moment, right? Where someone may say, oh, we got you, right? Cover 6 isn't up here. Well, yes, it is. It's definitely up here. This is a split field coverage. Split field simply means that if you split the field in half, one half of the defense is independent of what's happening on the other side. That's why I love double high safety defenses, because you can be a lot more creative in the different things you can do. What that means is this half of the defense doesn't care what defense is going on over here, as opposed to something like cover 3 or anything on the single high side. It is dependent on what's going on the other side, right? You can't make this corner here you can't change them to a cloud flat. Now you can, but you'd be exposing the defense in a horrific way, because the outer shell of that deep third is just wide open. There's nothing stopping someone from just climbing right up the field, right? So when you see somebody doing wonky stuff like that, and they're manipulating the outer shell, and they do something like that, you know where to go, right? Because they're doing something fundamentally wrong with their defense, right? So where's cover 6? Well, if you split it in half, one half is cover 4, and the other half is cover 2, right? Now there's some man-match principles, but you get my drift, right? What is this? Cover 2 zone. Cover 3. Cover 3. So you may ask, I mean, I challenge you to find me one defense that doesn't fall under one of these guys. This is cover 1. Cover 3 sky, cover 3, cover 0. right? So we've condensed the entire playbook, cover 3 zone, cover 3 zone, cover 2 zone, right? We've condensed the entire playbook down to one of 6 different coverages, and it just makes it easier for you to know where to attack. So your next question may be, well, how do we disguise coverages, right? What if I don't want my opponent to be able to pre-snap read what I'm doing? So let's one way, there's multiple ways you can do it. One way is there's certain play calls that you can pick that disguise the coverage, right? So here I picked, I believe, cloud, cover 3 cloud. And as you can see, look at the pre-snap alignment. Whenever you see a corner off and a corner on, first of all, you see double high. So again, back to the verbiage. If my opponent is telling the truth, right? I got to stress that. But they're not obligated to tell the truth. 98% of the time, the people you play online, they're telling the truth, right? Based upon their play calls or whatever. But there is, people who don't tell the truth. Maybe they pick a play that hides the intention of the defense, and one of them is cover 3 cloud. This guy's deep third, he's deep third, and he's deep third, and this guy's rolled up to play in the flat, right? But I mean, even cover 3 cloud, you can kind of tell because you see off coverage here, and this corner is on the line of scrimmage, ready to play bump and run, right? There you go. Now, remember what I told you about that sky, cover 3 sky? Okay, and remember I showed you the force defender? This is something I read in an article a while ago, and it blew me away. Something right under your nose, right? Well, the sky, the safety was the force run fit defender, right? He's the one where he wants to force a run to his side. You want to force it inside, right? You don't want the run to get outside of you because you're the outer shell of the run coverage pretty much on that side, right? Well, you notice who the force defender is in cover 3 cloud? It's the corner. Do you see something here that I never would have noticed unless I read, it pointed it out. It said that's the difference between cover 3 sky, cover 3 cloud, and think about cover 3 buzz. Who do you think should be the run force fit defender in cover 3 buzz? It's the backer, right? That's what that letter is for, right? Sky, safety, cloud, corner, backer, buzz, right? And that blew me away. And little things like that can change your game. I had a guy who was running the ball to the outside every time he ran it. He just kept running it to the outside, and I was slightly struggling with it from my cover 3 defense that I was running. And I was like, hey, he keeps running to the outside and he keeps breaking contain. I need a better run force fit defender. So I started playing cover 3 buzz, and then he couldn't do shit because my backer was just far more stout in holding his responsibility and forcing the run back inside. And he was a player that just wanted to get to the outside, right? He wasn't comfortable at all running it inside, right? So little things like that, knowing, the differences between why, the whys of, why it's called sky, cloud, or backer, right? So to me, I just thought that was just really neat. So now also cover 6, this isn't cover 6, but cover 6, remember, it's a split field coverage, right? So this side will look like cover 4, and then this side will look like cover 2. And remember, in cover 2, the corner is about 5 yards off and outside, right? I don't think I got it in this. So look, he's a force fit defender here, the corner. Now, for some odd reason, I went and selected cover 3 buzz. So here, this is another defense, a specific defensive play call you can pick to hide the integrity of what you're trying to do, or the intent, I should say. Cover 3 buzz, right? And it makes more sense because in cover 3 sky, this safety is a force run fit defender. So it wouldn't make sense for him to be aligned up here, right? Because he needs to force the run a certain way. He can't allow it to get outside of him. Obviously, it's the role of the contain too. I might have the verbiage mixed up, but you guys understand what I'm saying. So it makes sense why in sky that the safety is down, and obviously the safety is deep middle. While in buzz, right, these guys are more so run fit force defenders. Now I checked the force, and you see how something's got to be wrong here, right? Maybe something's wrong in my knowledge of it. Maybe my understanding is off, but to my knowledge, it's supposed to be the backer, or maybe this nickel guy. And when I checked the force run fit defender from a buzz, like, should this ever be? He shouldn't be involved in a run fits at all, right? Something's got to be like, I don't know, maybe it's right, but something's not right, I don't think, right? There's a reason why you don't want the outer shell to have run fits, right? You would never want this guy to be a run fit defender, at least in my opinion, because now he can be a conflict player, right? So if you're involved in the run fits, this guy, let's say we do like a play action, like I fake a play action, fake toss or something like that, or whatever, and your eyes is in the backfield because you're supposed to, fit the run. Well, now you're the outer shell as well, and we just blow right by you, right? So there's a reason why, corners on the outside and cover three shouldn't be involved in the run at all. So I wonder if this, I don't know, whatever. This kind of pissed me off when I saw that. Like, why is he a whatever. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you guys can correct me and, give me some information. But this was the flip side, I think. Like, this is just not, I don't know, whatever. So we'll just move on. So that's one way you can disguise coverage, just picking certain plays like cover 3 cloud, cover 3 buzz. Another one is cover 1 robber. In cover 1 robber, I was a little too quick here. Remember, it's cover 1 man, and then this guy plays the robber role. They have that coverage wrong as well. But when you select cover 1 robber, they come out in double high safety look, right? And then they rotate down into their coverage post snap, right? So that's a way you can disguise coverage. Now, what do I mean by them playing it wrong? I believe what's supposed to happen in cover 1 robber is he's supposed to be a robber, right? So if you get like a crossing pattern, okay, let's say this guy is supposed to play like outside leverage on this particular receiver because his help is to the inside, right? You play to your help, right? So this is his trail. This guy is about here, right? Well, the robber has leverage on this route. So then the robber, I believe this is what is supposed to happen, converts into man-to-man coverage now. He sees the cross, and now he overtakes the route. What are the benefits of that? Well, the benefit is I have outside leverage, not you. And now I'm manning up the route. Now, what does this guy do in that transition? He becomes the new robber. You see how that is just so much better than the way it is in the game, right? So now you don't have to select and play robber. Like, you ever notice when you play cover 1 robber, you user the robber or something, or maybe even the deep middle safety if you're real adventurous. I guarantee if you use it as safety, it's because you got some blitz going on. You're using some meta blitz or whatever, right? But anyways, imagine being able to user somebody else because the robber plays right? So in that instance, I would assume if that guy crosses and then you get another crosser, right? Well, he's man-to-man with this route. That route is just taken away. You can't throw it, right? You would have to back shoulder, do some weird throw, right? And the defender on this guy is on this guy. I wonder if in that situation, now I overtake that route because I have leverage on it, and then now you become the robber, right? To me, that's kind of interesting. So I just threw it up, threw that dot, whatever. So what else I wanted to show? Okay, here's another thing. Here's another way. So that's one way you can disguise coverage, right? Picking specific plays, cover 3 buzz, cover 3 cloud, cover 1 robber, right? Another way is to pick plays like this, overload 3, show 2. What do you think this show 2 means, right? Well, we're playing cover 3 outer shell, but the pre-snap is what we show and make it look like it's cover 2. That's the whole point of over 3. When you see show 2 or show 4, right? You're making it look like something else pre-snap. When the intent is something totally different. Even when you press, see how they're outside leverage here, right? Now there are weaknesses to disguising coverage, as there should be, right? If there was no weakness to something, then why not do it every single time? And that's one of the problems I have with Madden. You can kind of get away with a lot of disguising. It's not as punishable as it should be. And here's the ultimate way you can disguise your defense. What if you're a guy who, I don't want to pick those certain plays. I want to pick my regular plays, but I want everything to be disguised every single time. Well, that's when you do this. When you go to auto alignment, see your alignment shows what you're doing, right? Well, you turn it into base, where defenders will align according to their base formation position. So they're not aligning according to what they're supposed to do. They're just aligning in a way in which it just looks the same every single time. And they're going to align like this no matter what defense you pick. Not that guy. Safety's in the corners pretty much. Look, I checked to a blitz, right? And in the blitz, this guy would be further up. This guy would be further up, right? Okay, cover 3, but they didn't move, right? They didn't move at all. They're not in single high look. I think that was cover 3 buzz, so they would kind of look like this, but yeah, it's cover 3 buzz press. Oh, yeah, that was cover 3 buzz press, right? If you look at the audibles, go back and look. But in cover 3 buzz press, these corners should be on the line of scrimmage, but they're not because we're in base alignment. Everything looks just like this. Now, there are weaknesses to this. I think I'm going to give a video where I played against a guy who base aligned and we just exploited it, right? So here's another thing, cover 2 defense, right? Now, where's this guy supposed to be? He's supposed to be 5 yards off, outside leverage, so he can reroute the receiver. Here's one exploit, the problem with disguising coverage. He's not in his optimal alignment, right? So how can he press? He can't, because he's 10 yards off, and then that leads to the problems of a corner not rerouting at the line of scrimmage. You see how he takes an outside release? Because you're not able to press because you're in base alignment, right? And what's the problem with getting an outside release? This safety has more ground to cover, right? This throw wouldn't have happened had this receiver been more to the inside, right? Less ground to cover, make a break on the ball. So I wonder if that's it. Okay, and one last thing. I had one of you guys ask me in the comments, well, hey, I subscribe to this and whatever, subscribe to the idea, right? But I noticed that they don't align in the way that you were talking about when I play the game. And my answer to that is probably because you play in condensed splits, tight formations, bunch, and stuff of that nature. When you align like this, it's easier for the defense to disguise, even in stock coverages, right? So if you align in a lot of formations like this, then a lot of what we just went over is it's harder to apply, right? You can still try to use it, but it's just not as consistent because everything's bunched up and we can just, we can align in a variety of different ways, okay? So that's why whenever I play in bunch sets, compressed sets, I don't coverage read. I don't, you really almost don't even try to. You may look at single high and double high, but that's about it. I just go off progression reading where I read 1 to 2 to 3. So I can alleviate the issue of misreading what they're doing because it's easier to disguise. Okay, so man, that was a lot. I wonder how long this is, but I hope you guys enjoyed the video and hope you keep coming back, man. Peace.